Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Today, we continue and conclude our director's spotlight for Michael Mann with his newly released Ferrari. It was released on Christmas Day, December 25th, 2023. It was written by Troy Kennedy Martin based on the book by Brock Yates and directed by Michael Mann. I'm Colton Robertson. I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. And man, we got another great theater experience under our belt here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very happy with it. Ferrari, man, this spotlight ramped up my expectations like crazy for it, and I'm so happy with the payoff here. How are you feeling fresh off of it?
Oh yeah. Oh, dude, Michael Mann. Now that we're all said and done with him, we've got all the movies we're said to cover. I am not done with him myself, that's for sure. I think beyond stopping here at Ferrari, I will get his other filmography, and I need to see his other stuff because he was the most surprising director, I think, out of the whole list that we've covered so far. Maybe not necessarily my favorite or the best, but definitely the most surprising as far as I just did not expect to like any of his movies. I guess I had zero expectations with Michael Mann because I didn't really know anything about his movies.
I get that.
And in this, I mean, I do have a little love for cars, growing up. Not as much now, but I've been into them. I like the sounds that they make. So I was somewhat into this movie, not like completely out of it. But I mean, I think the racing, all of that sort of stuff just kind of goes to the wayside, and it's way more focused on the relationships of Enzo. Like that's what the movie's about to me. And it was, I don't know, it was not what I was expecting at all. A lot more documentary. I don't want to say documentary because that kind of I feel like that discredits it in some way.
Informational,
but
a bit more informational than you thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, there's some slower points in the movie, like just a lot of just building up what eventually will come. Like, I mean, that's the thing is that Michael Mann, he's a master when it comes to building tension, and there's, I mean, not much tension to really build. With this, it's just like they're gonna go on a race and it's dangerous, and like everyone understands, and like it's like there's not really a lot that's going on there. But
I thought that there was a great deal of tension building just through the act of racing. It's not necessarily that, like, you feel that we're building to something pretty much the whole fucking movie, like it's consistently like we're getting there. And then one of my favorite things that they do is squashing that tension. Like whenever that's like met, whenever it culminates, and seeing how it's handled after, specifically by Enzo Ferrari, played by Adam Driver, who does a wonderful job. We'll keep it spoiler free for a while. If you have not watched the movie, we'll keep you around for a little bit, let you know what we thought on a broad scope before we dive into more specifics. But I thought I really, really enjoyed it. I have a personal bias of not being a huge fan of car movies or racing movies in general, so I was very pleasantly surprised that this was much more of a almost a family drama, which is interesting. Definitely not what I expected. And I was overwhelmingly satisfied with that side of the story. And I was overwhelmed. Like, this was one of the most compelling racing movies I've ever seen in terms of the, like, just, you're there. You're like, the way he shot racing was fucking fantastic.
Oh my God.
I came away from this very surprised with how much I like it and how much I thought, how good I thought it was. Cause for some reason, my expectations, I was like, fresh off of this spotlight specifically, I was like, there's only so much you can do here. You know, like, I was like, the story that he's telling here, again, I told you, I don't typically like racing movies. So I was expecting much more cars, racing. And there's plenty of that, obviously. But I thought for sure I was going to come away from it being like bottom two man for me. And I'm not there.
That's what I haven't slotted it in the, like, just director spotlight kind of movies or there. But I mean, as far as Man is considered, it's not Heat. It is not The Insider.
I don't think so.
It is not Collateral for me. But I think I would put it around the same level as Thief. I don't think it's not the bottom. I think that's still Manhunter, which is crazy that's just
it's a great
bottom
movie.
of the barrel movie for Michael Mann. But I think it's probably number 4 for me. And
I could see that.
I'd probably go back to Thief first. I'd probably go rewatch Thief before I watch Ferrari. Ferrari, I don't think a rewatch would grant you much more. I feel like it's just kind of one of those movies that you see, you're very glad that you have seen it. And if you ever have to watch it again or someone's seen it, you'll be like, oh yeah, I'll sit in for that. I'll watch that. Sure. But I don't think
it's definitely a particular kind of enjoyment, you know, because on a personal note, I have this 3. I have this above Collateral.
Okay.
And it's the same thing you're talking about. I would rewatch Collateral 10 times out of 10 before I rewatched Ferrari. I absolutely would. I thought that what they got to chew on in this movie was just a different fucking level in terms of performance. I thought that, you know, visually, I thought it was really, really well done. I didn't think that it would. I certainly didn't think it would breach that. I put it kind of right there with Collateral for me.
Okay.
It's I don't know which way that goes. 3-4, 4-3, whichever. But
I can definitely recognize that this is made much, much better than Collateral. Like, critically wise, no, this one's kind of, I don't know. The Collateral would be, I'd say, the standout for what we've covered as far as, like, just how visually and how good movies look for Michael Mann. I'd say Collateral is probably the least visually invoking movie there. But this was nice. No, not even different. IMAX here, you know, and it was still
and it was different for Michael Mann's visual language, you know, like you saw notes of it. I thought at points. I love the way that he has a real knack for splitting the screen. You know, he did it a lot in Collateral, where like there was always the divider between Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx in the taxi and stuff like that. But you know, when asphalt takes up half the screen, or a field takes up half the screen, or, you know, like all of that. I absolutely, The Insider, whenever half the screen was somebody's fucking face and then it was whatever was behind them, you know, like I think we got a little bit of that here as well. So there were absolutely Mannisms, but as far as what you think of when you think of a Michael Mann movie, that midnight blue sort of dark tone, and this is dark, don't get me wrong, but visually it's much brighter, I think, than we typically find a Michael Mann movie to be, and I really appreciated it for that. I thought that he found a way to evolve as a visual filmmaker even now. Granted, you know, the last movie we covered chronologically is 20 years prior to this, so I don't know how much he has evolved in between Collateral and Ferrari, but this seems to be quite the leap visually between those two movies.
Oh yeah. And maybe that is more of, well, yeah, I don't know. I was going to say maybe it's more of the story that's being told. Like, this is, obviously when it's racing, there's fast moving parts, but this is very slow. Otherwise, like, it is just people having conversations, one meeting to the next, just how business, like, it is kind of crazy seeing kind of the day in the life of Enzo Ferrari and what he, you know, I'm assuming they didn't get his day down pat, but this is probably what days looked like for him. It seemed that it was just a phone call. All right, I have to go do this. I'm going to the factory. I have to do this now. I have to go talk to this person, blah, blah, blah.
Tell her I might call her tomorrow. I have business to attend to. You know, that line was one that stood out for me.
Yeah.
I fucking love Adam Driver. I'm obviously, you know, as Star Wars fans, we have a little bit of a personal bias to enjoy Adam Driver, as he was our beloved Kylo Ren Ben Solo. But even beyond that, I've loved his work with Noah Baumbach, and I'm glad that he's seemingly joining the lexicon of Michael Mann, as he's supposed to also be Robert De Niro's character from Heat, Neil McCauley, and Heat 2. So I loved his work here. I thought there's something so physically imposing about Adam Driver. He feels so massive on screen, and I've always gotten that, like, from The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. Like, he always presents himself as huge. Like, the dude, like, and that's the thing, is he's tall and he's a big guy, but
6'2",
like,
but
there's something larger. It feels like there's something larger than life about him. Like, there was a moment when he got out of a car at Shailene Woodley's character's house, Lena. And he takes off his jacket, throws it in the car. He takes off his hat, throws it in the car, and he loosens his tie, and he walks towards her. And I was like, Jesus Christ, what a man. Like, the physical performance of this guy, even beyond just how good he was with, you know, I don't think Adam Driver is Italian. Maybe he is, but if he is,
I don't think so.
If he's not, pretty solid Italian accent there. You're not getting that distinctive Adam Driver voice, you know, out of him a little bit.
Apparently, he's got Dutch, English, German, Irish, and Scottish. So
look at that. No, it was impressive.
Italian
I was impressed with him.
But
beyond that, just the physicality of him, his presence on screen is so massive. And he, to quote Martin Scorsese, he had that girth. He, you know, he dominates the screen.
Wow, Scorsese said that in context of what? What did he?
Brendan Fraser in Killers of the Flower Moon.
Okay. Wow. Oh, wow. That's perfect. Oh, that's He did. I do. Okay, I remember that now. I think I do remember hearing that.
Yeah, he had that girth. But that's like, this was the first time since I heard that quote where I felt it was applicable to say it about someone. Like, when he's on the screen, he takes it up, and it's wonderful to watch. So Adam Driver, I went with him for performance. Even though there is another that is an easy candidate. It's one of the rare movies where the top two are like, it is almost impossible to pick between. And Adam Driver, I went ahead and gave him the edge there because I just love that guy. I love his presence, and he was wonderful in this movie.
Oh, he's incredible. Our Kylo Ren, you know, as seeing him be this Italian guy. You know, I've seen House of Gucci. I've seen, you know, he was
yes.
What was his name in there? Maurizio. Yeah, good old Maurizio Gucci in there. So but this one was, he took it to a different level here. Whole different character to have to play, for one. But man, no, he did incredible. I was about to go with him, but I gave the other performance, the light Penelope Cruz as Laura Ferrari. They just, whenever they were together, man. They had their individual parts. that were great. But man, whenever they just got a chance to go off each other back and forth, it was, I mean, oh my God. Yeah, they were incredible.
They were, man. They were. I think if I had to, from what I've seen and what I've heard and who I trust, if I were doing a best actor short list for the Oscars, like what I think the nomination should be is Cillian Murphy, of course. Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer. Bradley Cooper for Maestro. To each their own. I think he'll definitely get a nomination, whether he deserves it or not. I don't know. Paul Giamatti in The Holdovers. Beyond that, Adam Driver as Enzo Ferrari feels like a shoo-in. I don't know how you pass that up. I think that
he was,
and I think that Penelope Cruz on the flip side absolutely earns one, either supporting or lead. I don't know what she would technically be categorized as. But either way, more than deserving. Like she was fucking fantastic of at least a nod, you know. But
I mean, Adam Driver though, like he had a lot more screen time, which, you know, will help. And like a lot more moments, and you were kind of talking about it earlier where something would happen and you knew you were leading to something, but kind of the best part about it was seeing how Enzo reacted to whatever just happened. And a lot of times, like, words weren't even spoken. It was just his face and like just sticking with him for a while. Like I remember, I guess after the big event, and he's very shocked. A coworker comes up to him, you know, and is talking to him, and he's just kind of like not respond. You know, he's just kind of like lost. He's like in shock. He's still listening, you know, but he's like, I don't know. I don't even know what to say right now. And like just the facial acting he does in those moments, is incredible. And then him just actually talking too, like I thought that the Italian was gonna get to me too much, because like I watch everything with subtitles, and that's the one thing about theater experiences that I wish I could have is subtitles.
It got easier as the movie went on, but at the beginning I was like, oh no, am I going to have a tough time understanding everybody?
Yeah, and I think they kind of knew that, because whenever they were bringing up characters' names, and it was just the most Italian-sounding names of all time, they'd be like, yeah, and here's the context about them right afterwards. Like, it's like, we'll say their name, but we'll give you the context. And then, like the two guys that he lost, on...
24 years ago to the week, you know,
yeah, and that's in their son. That was completely separate from. This is like a race accident that he lost.
That happened.
People, is what he said.
Yes.
Okay.
I believe it was because he says something about how it was from the metal that he made at some point. Like he built the cars that crashed and they died.
Yeah.
And then his son Dino. This was the first we talked about this with Napoleon on the Patreon a few weeks back. How we don't really pay attention to like the time jump thing, like the number. I really loved the way they utilized it at the beginning of this movie, where they showed the, like, you know, the black and white footage of Adam Driver in the old Ferrari. But then they cut to an explanation that him and his wife opened Ferrari Construzionale about in 1937, and then it flashed 1957. Yeah, it's been 20 years, and then on Dino's grave it says 1956. So he died a year before the events of this movie.
Okay. I read those years, but I guess I just didn't put the two together that this was just a year afterwards.
They're only a year removed from the death of their son. So we are in the middle of the obviously hardest time of their life.
Okay. That was another scene that was a possible choice, was whenever I don't think this was the same argument. I think this was a different argument that Laura and Enzo had. But it was whenever she was like, you were supposed to save him. You know, and he was
dude.
like, I tried. You know, I did everything. I'm fucking, you know,
incredible.
like.
I know more about this and this and this than I do about cars. Like, I did everything.
Dude.
That was fantastic.
Yeah. Like, you know, what he does with women is one thing, but at least he seems to want to be a good father and like seems
he
to
loves.
Like,
that's
that's
one thing that stood out about the character is that he loves his children with all his heart. He loves his family. He loves what he does. I like he loves, and there's a line that he delivers when he's talking to his team, his racing team, where he says, "It's a deadly passion that we have, you know, but we do it." And like that fucking phenomenal. I was just floored.
Like summed up so much of the movie in one dialogue. Like it's like it's crazy what we do. You know, like it doesn't really make sense. But we know death is close, but we don't care. If someone dies on Sunday, you know, I don't know. Like, was that the same thing?
My friend dies on Friday. I say that I'm not going to race on Monday, but I'm back in the car on Sunday. You know, like that's like it's.
Yeah. I don't know if that was at the table. I feel like it might have been.
There's a couple scenes at the table, so I think there's a cutaway in between.
It seemed the first one was definitely the best. Whenever or like he was like, you know, he basically was calling them all pussies. Like he was like, you guys got to win. What the fuck?
That's where my favorite line came from.
Oh yes, dude,
I absolutely adored some of the moments during this scene where. Here, let me see if I can't pull it up because I have the shortened version in the sheet right now. But it's a trailer moment, and there's something about the trailer moments for this movie that I fucking adored because the trailer doesn't even begin to give you the impact of them, and you think, why would they show me this in the trailer? And then you watch it in the movie, and you're like, holy fucking shit. There's in the middle of my quote, he says the trailer line where he says, you know, two objects cannot occupy the same point in space at the same moment in time. You know, he says that in the middle of it. But the context of it where he says, on the straight into the tight corner at the New Le Mans, there's only one line through it. Barra pulls up next to you, challenging you. You're even. But two objects cannot occupy the same point in space at the same moment in time. Barra does a lift. The corner races at you. You have perhaps a crisis of identity. Am I a sportsman or am I a competitor? How will the French think of me if I run Barra into a tree? You lift, he passes. He won, you lost. I was like, oh my fucking God. Because, again, like, the line's already cold, but Adam Driver's performance of it is fucking absurd. Like, I loved it.
Dude, you hit the nail on the head with the trailer moments. I thought I was crazy, but I was watching this and I'm like, oh my God, every trailer moment is actually like, it's not like trailer moments in other movies where you're like, oh, I literally know what's coming. Like, even like when the scene starts, you know, you're like, oh, I already know how this is going to end. Like I saw this.
Yeah, like when they're on that straightaway with the trees, you're like, okay, well, someone's about to crash big. But you don't know what's about to happen, bruh. Like, I'm gonna go ahead. I'll let y'all know. If you have not seen the movie, you're welcome to stay. You're welcome to stay. You absolutely are. But like we're saying, the trailer moments, they pay off big when you do not know what's going to happen. Specifically one. But regardless, if you know a lot about Ferrari, if you know the story, if you know the stuff, stick around. I don't give a shit. And if you don't give a shit, I don't give a shit. You can stick around. But yeah, spoilers out the ass now. So we're in there.
Oh my God. Oh my God. It felt we all experienced that together. Like the whole theater.
It was
dropped.
incredible.
I mean, everyone just my jaw was on the floor for I don't know how long straight. Like, I mean, it was everyone in the room.
Wide open, my mouth agape,
like, oh my God.
Not breathing, I'm holding
that just happened. Like, it was like, wait, like, that was not the movie for a second there, that was like, this, it all like clicked in one moment. It was like, it's crazy just to see the visual on screen in the first place. Then it was like, oh shit. These races are real. They are based on real events. Like, I am assuming that an accident like
this is a fictional thing that they made.
Like, I was like, wait a minute. Is this based on a real thing? I still don't know that for sure, but I'm assuming race accidents happen, that's, that is the driver going kind of seems, you take that for just that's obvious. Like at this time, like there's no safety whatsoever for the driver.
They actually, racing this course ended after 2 fatal crashes involving multiple people occurred during the 1957 race, the one we saw. The first crash involved the factory-entered 4-liter Ferrari 335S. 11 people were killed at the village, including the driver and his navigator, and then 9 spectators.
Oh, wow. And that's what they said. They said 9 people lost their lives.
5 injured.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that was, like, it was brutal. The entire theater went silent. Like, you heard gasps, and then that was it. Like, it was everyone... Dude, all of the air was sucked out of your lungs instantly, and then our
theater was excellent. We had a wonderfully respectful audience. Mm-hmm. It was brilliant. I love audible reactions that are followed by silence. That whole build up there where we cut randomly to a family sitting in their kitchen, about to eat a meal, and you're like, "What are we doing here? Oh no, what are we doing here?" Oh God, what's about to happen? I thought, like the kids get up, they're like, they're coming. I thought this kid was about to die, and I thought that was going to be it, which would have been terrible anyway.
Yeah, because he does run.
This is the tension
like it's going to happen. Yes.
This is the tension I was talking about. That just blew my fucking mind.
Yeah, we're like, okay, we're in the middle of a race. Why are we having such a nice family dinner? Instantly, you're like, even though this is a good, cute moment, it's like, oh, go wash your hands, come back. The camera just stays there. And when a camera is just, like, stagnant and, it just, like, where are we? Why? You're like, I was like, okay. I'm like, what the fuck? He starts to run. They run out, the older kid runs out first, and then the younger kid starts to run behind him, and the dad is like, oh, shit. Like, I don't trust the little one out there.
The little one might run out in there. Yeah.
And he was about to. He was about to run out in the road.
Well, and you also got the line delivery before the race where Ferrari tells his driver, look out for dogs and stray children. Those are what you need to worry about,
Yeah.
And so, like, he gets his kid, and you're like, oh, good.
Yeah, like, fuck. I'm like, holy shit. Okay, thank God they didn't kill the kid. And then 9 people, including
fucking dominoes on the side of the road, bro.
My
favorite moment from the theater experience is when we get that zoom in on that object in the road, and his tire hits it, and you hear like a lady in the back row go, "Oh!" Like she was like, "Oh no!" Like it was so fucking funny because it's not like she maintained that like the "Oh God," but like. She couldn't contain that she was worried about what was about to happen. And I loved that,
oh man.
Because I knew what was about to happen. I knew his car was about to go flying. I didn't know who. I thought it might be Patrick Dempsey's character. I didn't know if it was going to be the homeboy or his navigator. But when that ship popped, he goes flying, and then it just and it's like silent too. Like it's not like, and it's slow mode, and it's just wiping them out. My fucking God, dude. I was floored.
Yeah.
Melted.
Like it's you go from a moment of triumph, a moment of like the music swelling because this, it's the youngster. It's like he's thinking he's got it won. Like he's like the race is won. I don't know. Like, their names, I mean, fucking are all past me. The racers' names.
Yeah, gotcha.
But the one who did flip
𝗁𝗫𝗀𝗍, that was
he, like, it seems they were nearing the end of the race, but it seemed that, like, through this moment, like, this was the last opportunity they had. Like, I don't know, it felt like the race was just won. He was gonna win. His girl was gonna be there at the end. Everything was going his way. And then it shows the first little thing in the middle of the road. He doesn't hit that one.
Zoom right past
like, he does. Yeah, don't hit that one. But then, like, I don't know. Maybe it was the same one that it came back to, but like it's just like you instantly knew. You're like, fuck. You're like, oh.
Yeah, no. They show Patrick Dempsey's car fly past.
Oh, just by the same one.
Yes,
and then,
the same, and then a car behind it, 𝗁𝗫𝗀𝗍's car.
Interesting.
Popped that shit.
So he isn't in the lead. Yeah, I guess he wouldn't be. He wouldn't be the lead car. For some reason, I thought it was. Yeah, no, because they would have seen the crash. They did just.
And then at the end, one of the other drivers, when his girlfriend's like, where is he? Where is he? He's like, oh, I don't know. He was behind me whenever I stopped. Like, so he must.
Oh my God, I don't. It's not up to this level. It's close. The closest comparison to this scene that I can give is the Oppenheimer post news where he's dealing with the people are screaming at him, celebrating, and he is like, holy shit, what have I done? And because it happens, and then you cut to the winners of the race. It's like they're celebrating the win. Everyone's cheering. It's like, look at, oh my God, what a race. Look at these guys glorifying them. But then it's like, like 9 people in a village were killed. Like the drivers, people can
they don't even know
that. Yeah, I know. And that's the thing, is that like it doesn't even matter at this moment. And it's crazy. But yeah, I mean not equivalent to that Oppenheimer moment, but it sort of reminded me of that. Like it was like, oh my God, like dude. What a crazy juxtaposition. I mean, like, or just to go from
of this being, and that's not what's being celebrated, obviously, but the contrast of this deadly passion, like that's what it's caused countless deaths. Like that was crazy too, is that I looked at the Wikipedia page for this race, and this is obviously a massive disaster, and it's what concluded the 𝗁𝗫𝗀𝗍, but there's a ridiculous amount of people who have died at this race, watching this race.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Like it's absurd, but over its 30-year history, a total of 56 people died.
Oh my God.
The deaths involved 24 drivers / co-drivers and 32 spectators. More spectators died than drivers.
Wow. That's actually crazy. Yeah. And it makes sense. Like it would be like situations like these where a car our bodies are not going to win against something going 120, 130 miles an hour. That's just that's all she wrote there. But yeah, like even the driver at the very beginning on the track, he launched out of that car. Like, dude, I mean,
another one of those just jarring, jaw-dropping moments. Like, and you knew that was coming. You knew he was like, because they're doing something there where like
𝗁𝗫𝗀𝗍 walked up to him
and he's like, I don't need a new driver right now. And then he died. Okay. Like this was a good example of that tension being built, and then watching what Enzo does immediately, and him being like, tell 𝗁𝗫𝗀𝗍 to come to my office on Monday. That's the first thing he says after that dude flies out of his car.
Dude, lose a friend on whatever day, and they're back in the office on Monday. He said, fuck. He's right. Like, it's just, I mean, like, it's crazy. I love the trope of, like, a seasoned veteran that is like now teaching, like a coach. Like imagining LeBron James becoming a basketball coach or manager or something like that. And then just witnessing how he would coach people, because he just like, I don't know. It's just that Enzo knows racing so well, and he was a racer himself, that like everything he was saying had such a level of credibility that like when he's yelling at them at that like dinner, or like whenever they lost, and whenever he's like shitting on them, they are like, we can't defend. Like he's like totally right. He's like, I don't know. There is no coming back from this. We have to accept this shit from Enzo Ferrari right now, because he's right. And I don't know. It's crazy that like
he makes such great points during that. He's like, nobody forces you to get in those cars.
Yeah, like
it's a terrible
perfect thing for the non-racing fan. Like it put it into words so perfectly that like you don't have to be into racing really at all to really get what's like just going, like the oomph and the I guess the hit of it is just knowing that he is so experienced himself. Like, and he just puts it in plain terms. I don't know. It was just incredible. Adam, like, more I'm talking, like Adam Driver did
a fantastic job, man. Like he was so fucking good. There's a mid-stall of all, again, that scene might as well be my favorite scene, the way that I keep coming back to it. But whenever he's like, you know, if you get in my car, you get in to win. You know, he's like, I understand this shit is dangerous. You're not being forced to do this shit, bro. Like, I'm not holding the gun to your head telling you gotta do this shit. I love whenever they make the emphasis there. He's like, we understand the risk. You know, like we get it. We know what it is. And then at the end, after the disaster, whenever his dude is like, well, we understand the risk. He goes, no, children don't understand the risk. Yeah. Families don't understand the risk. Like this isn't supposed to happen. That's not something that we can justify by being, this is our terrible passion. Like this is just terrible. You know, like there is no bright side to this.
Yeah. It's like astronauts that are, you know, going up and just on missions, and their rocket goes, and it's kind of like, that what heroes, you know, they're risking their lives for something much greater. But then, you know, a teacher gets on, or, you know, Big Bird was supposed to, or like the Challenger changes everything. Once just people that were not supposed to be involved, people that were just, I don't want to say normal humans, to say like the astronauts weren't normal humans too.
Civilians.
But like, just civilians with no attachment to what was going on. Whenever like they get hurt, it just changes everything. It's I mean,
it's not something they signed up for. You know, like, you know, the risk when you volunteer to do something like that. Granted, you know, safety regulations probably should have been a little stricter. You know, you can't have 14 people lining up on the side of the road when cars are going 130 miles an hour. There should have been something to prevent that.
I guess it is just a long, it's not a track. It's just the road.
It's through the city.
Which is incredible.
There's times where I'm pretty sure they just pass cars.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're just driving.
They're not even in the race. Yeah. Like, I think they do a good job of shutting it down, like in the main cities and stuff. But as far as just the village roads or whatever, those are just like, like people just driving in between village, like people that just are not in the city. You know, I don't know. I'm assuming they know a race is going on. It seems that like it's just known.
It's an event. Yeah.
Like, it's like, I don't know. In Italy, I feel like racing at this time was just kind of their most patriotic
Ferrari,
shit.
You got Maserati, you got all that out there. Like, God. It's a big Enzo Ferrari is the crown, the golden, or the crown jewel on the crown of Italy, is what, as he says. You know, like,
you're a national treasure. He's like, the fucking crowned, or was it the crown jewel of Italy? One of the crown jewels of Italy. Yeah, I don't know. He knew who he was. You know, he's a confident man.
I love the scene whenever he's talking to the football club coach or owner, and he's like, do I need to move the team? Do I need to move my factories? You know, like, people don't want to be working in a place where the football club is an embarrassment, you know? And he's like, what, are you kidding me? Our football club is the pride of this area. And everyone in the fucking barbershop goes, like, they're all like, no, fuck you.
Yeah.
You know, like, that shit was, like, there was a lot of, like, really small, funny moments like that. You were speaking to something. I can't remember if it was right before the pod or during the pod, regardless, either way. But that scene with Laura, whenever she's like, so am I the only one? Or it's Leanie who's like, am I the only one? Or who knows? Who doesn't know? You know, he's like, there's nobody that knows. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
And he's like, so, you know, the doctor? Well, of course the doctor.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, your lawyer? Yeah, my lawyer. The bank? Yes, the bank.
Come on.
And then the list just goes on and on. And so, and she's like, so everyone in Italy except for your wife. And he's like, no, you know, like that whole thing. There were a couple moments that were like laugh out loud funny. I had a great fucking time with this movie, man. Like I way more so than I thought I would. And I'm extremely excited that that's the case. That makes me very happy.
Yeah, like comparing it to Ford versus Ferrari, I would say a much more race focused movie. That movie's way, like, I don't even know what other race movies I've watched. Like Talladega Nights, but I don't think that's in the same conversation as this.
No.
Ford vs Ferrari,
great movie, just not quite the same type.
Like Ford vs Ferrari is not even really in this conversation, and that's a pretty good movie. Like, that's just a good, I don't know, but yeah, I don't know what other
just watched Gran Turismo like a couple days ago.
Okay.
Based on a true story, David Harbour, all that, Orlando Bloom. I loved that movie, by the way, way more than I thought I would also, which was another, like, you know, maybe I'm coming around on the racing movie thing. Maybe I need to watch Ford versus Ferrari, but regardless, not even close to the same conversation. Like, there's nothing there. You know, and I know so little about racing that, like, the stuff that, like, did connect between those two movies, like mentions of things, I was like, oh, you know, I was like, whoa, it's real life. This is real stuff, you know. Like, he mentions Le Mans, which is like a huge race in Gran Turismo. So I was like, oh, that's dope. You know, I was like, wow, this sport has a lot of history, you know,
yeah, no, it does. And I will say that if you do like racing, it is not the focus of the movie, but whenever they do go to the cars, man, God, they sound great. For one, they sounded incredible. A lot of times they just let the cars roar, no music at all. That was the music. And so they sounded good. They looked incredible. I don't know if these were real Ferraris. I'm assuming that Michael Mann, if he's making this movie, I'm assuming the guy is a fan of Ferraris, and this was like a lifelong dream just for an excuse to buy some really fucking expensive Ferraris.
Yeah, I would imagine that we're looking at Ferraris here. Like
driving, I don't know. Driving,
no,
I don't know. Those old ones, I don't know if anyone's comfortable driving them, especially in the ways they did. But I would wonder if the engine sounds are actually taken from real Ferraris, or if they just kind of made it all in the booth or something like that.
I hadn't thought of that. I hope it's authentic. I would, like, if you're making a movie like this, I would hope that if it's not a big deal. But
yeah, I'd say the only things that I would say is for sure Ferraris is whenever they're just like all lined up. Whenever, like, the press is there taking pictures.
I'm not even a car guy, but, like, at all. But wow,
Ferraris
fucking beautiful.
Are just sexy, you know? It's just there is something about it. It's a car. How the fuck can a car be sexy? But it is. Like, it just is. It has that. It just has that about it.
That sheen, that smoothness, the curves.
The curves.
My God.
It's it's wonderful.
That red, the Ferrari red, fucking.
It's classic. Oh, it's classic. On the Excel sheet, I looked up the exact hex code for Ferrari red for our little Excel sheet here.
Beautiful.
So that is the red that is on there. But yeah, I don't know. That is where my line comes from. I don't know if it is exact, but it is when Enzo's talking to his son, and he's explaining how engines work to him, basically, and how fluid dynamics works. And at the end, he says, something that works better is usually more beautiful to the eye. Could get the verbiage a little bit wrong there, but I don't know. It was just actually a really cute moment between him and his son.
You don't get a lot of those in this movie either.
And yeah, cool little engine design little moment there too. I mean, he was speaking facts. That is,
and it's one of those moments that's formative on showing he's not just a racer.
No,
he wasn't just a racer. Like this dude,
he's an engineer.
Cars well. He knows how to make them better.
Mm-hmm. He's I don't know, just a genius. It seems like, I don't know, just kind of a Renaissance man, a modern era Renaissance man. Enzo Ferrari, just born, I'd say 400 years too late. I think
born just the right time for
maybe
cars.
Actually, yeah, we wouldn't have gotten Ferraris, but I don't know, he would have thrived back in the Renaissance days, I feel. But yeah, no, I did end up going with him for character for me, and definitely glad that he is getting a performance out of you, because he deserves it. But Penelope Cruz, I don't know. I needed to spread the love to both of them here.
Dude, she was unbelievable in this. The sequence when she learns about Lena, and she's at the bank, and she mentions like a place, and he's like, "Oh, so here?" And she's like, "No, not there.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna look into that. Thank you. I'm unaware that exists." But she pulls up, and when she sees the little car, it like confirms her suspicion.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a second family.
Mm-hmm.
And
she asked for her gun back as well right before she goes. I'm like, holy shit, she's gonna fucking kill her. She is actually going to kill her right now. Do not fuck with Laura. Like, I don't know, that's just like, even the banker was afraid of Laura. Like, that's just a powerful woman that I do not. She
was my character.
Yeah, I do not want to get in the way of.
It was so fascinating too, because she's not. There comes that point at the end of the movie whenever she's like, I'll sign this over to you. Everything's fine. No conditions except for the condition that you cannot give your son the name Ferrari until after I'm gone. Mm-hmm. And like the triumph of this movie is making you understand Laura to the point where you get why she thinks that way. Like in a lesser movie, that moment hits you like, Jesus, lady, come on. But this movie really does it for you, I think. Yeah. Like the character work with her, as far as like, again, I think it's crucial that this takes place a year after their son has passed. Like, that is the most important detail of this movie, I think, in terms of the relationship between Laura and Enzo. And specifically Laura's character and how she's done. She's no longer, neither of them are in love with each other anymore. It's a business partnership at this point. They both know that, but there's still this vague holding on. Just like, I feel like they both know that if they stop being together, it really marks the end of something, specifically their son Dino. Like, at least if they're together, it feels like there's still something there,
Dude. Whenever it flashed back to them with Dino, and like how good she looked, like, and how just happy when he was, it was another trailer moment, you know, whenever he's dancing with the dress and they're all just happy, smiling. He lays on the bed and you know, they're just, that was it. Just a nice moment.
My favorite scene.
It did come out of that. That's right.
It's the opera. It's the opera flashbacks.
Dude.
Parallel, and the way that everybody in the crowd, and even not in the crowd, like Laura is remembering stuff during this time as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
Where, again, the facial acting of Adam Driver here, absurd. The acting of Penelope Cruz. I would say this is Shailene Woodley's best scene in the movie as well. Whenever she's watching him, remembering when they met.
Yes.
You know, like, it's a wonderful scene that really anchors your understanding of everything, you know, like, it's not, because up to this point, you know that Laura and Enzo had Dino. You knew that they had a son and they loved him, and, you know, their love has grown apart.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no sign that they were ever happy during this movie up to that point. You know, like,
like it. Yeah.
No.
I don't know.
And to see that was where they once were. And to see the way that he's recalling his love of Laura and then his love of Dino, and Shailene Woodley's watching him, Lena's watching him, remembering when they met, remembering when they had a son, and Laura's thinking back to the same stuff that he's thinking about. Like, it's just a fucking
the
layers
here.
Sequence.
Just in the fact that it's all happening at an opera, where, like, you know, on the surface level, if you were just to look at the crowd and some people are crying, you'd be like, yeah, wow, just what a beautiful show. Like, they're crying because the voices are so beautiful. But it's like, no, yes, they are. It's leading them to a place, you know, to think of their own life. And that's, you know, where the tears are actually coming from, sort of thing. I thought, I don't know, it was just a beautiful way to give a snapshot into how every character's thinking at that point in the movie. Like, it was perfect.
I also thought there was something wonderfully, not meta. Meta's the wrong word. But it feels like there's a lot of points where they are making a point about the audience, the spectators, the thing that is watching the thing. And therein a point about us watching this movie, you know, like whenever they're all sitting there watching the opera, there's a soft glow from the lights on their faces and they're tearing up, and it's kind of like a power of storytelling through this medium. And I think that obviously we experience that when we go to the movie theater, at least I do. But then later on, you mentioned something earlier about when the car wipes out 14 people. It felt like that was separate. It felt like that wasn't the movie for a second. It feels like it's hitting you. Like, it feels like it's you've been blindsided so massively by something so tragic and so epic and so sad that you can't even fathom that it's real for a moment, you know? And fucking blew me away. Blew me away.
Yeah. I mean, it's a theater moment that is pretty unforgettable. Like, that's like I don't know, man. I like the focus on the audience, though. I didn't pick up on that, but I feel like he likes racing. He likes Ferrari. I think you did say this was sort of a passion project for him, right? Like, he's been trying to get this made.
The writer of this movie died a decade ago.
Wow. Yeah. So, he's just been trying to get the right people. He's been trying for quite a while, but now he finally did it. Maybe he sees racing as a very guilty pleasure, that even though the racers understand that they might die and that they understand the risk, that it's even wrong for the spectator to buy into it so heavily and to be like so okay with it, that it's purely for entertainment. You know, like this, it is literally putting lives on the line for entertainment. Like, it is, it used, you know, racing, you know, all the car companies will say that it is to further their engineering, to see what the top of their line could be, to show you who the most dominant car company in the world is. But it's not for that. It is, they are
Not
making
purely.
racks off of these races, you know? There are like, they need, the point of the races is to sell their production cars so that they can still race because it's their passion to do so. At least that's how Ferrari does it. But yeah, it's a very strange concept to kind of wrap your head around when you break it down like that. Like an NFL player is in danger, but it's not usually not life and death situations that are on the line.
In rare situations, but yeah, like no,
but,
it's fascinating, and it's not the only movie of the year that I think has done this, and it's specifically with true stories. True stories are the ones that get to hammer this home a little more poignantly. I think you mentioned earlier, reminded you of Oppenheimer. Whenever, you know, the entire crowd is cheering, and he's there's not so much of that, like, not guilting the audience. I don't want to say that's the right thing that they're doing necessarily.
Just showing the reality
with Ferrari, but like Killers of the Flower Moon. Whenever Marty pops up at the end of the movie and is like, "This is what happened," and he's addressing the audience directly about how he's guilty about having made the movie, about how he has to tell the story, about how we take in the story. It happened with May December. You haven't watched that yet, but it's based on a real situation about a woman grooming a 13-year-old and then marrying him eventually and having children with him eventually. It's based off a real story, and there's an analyzation of the audience in that too. Like, true crime stuff, true stuff that happened. It gives you the opportunity to condemn and enlighten, which is really fascinating. And I feel like this movie cutting from that tragedy straight to the guy being crowned at the end with the audience going crazy is a little bit of that there. And
it isn't. It's definitely not guilting the audience. Like, I don't think that's the main point of it. It's just to show, like, that's just how it happened. Like, it's just they have no clue. It's just they're at the end of the race. The audience, you know, that's what they're there to see. The winner, whoever wins, and that, you know, that's that. And then you deal with the aftermath later, like on the inside. And I don't know. It is really cool to imagine that CEOs used to be like this. I don't know. Like, I cannot imagine a modern day CEO being like this at all. I don't know why. I just feel like there's no way they actually traveled to the location of the crash to go, like, see it, you know, and, like, I guess, like, they have to be there for press. I don't know if that's, like, it seems that he was just a very, like, I get it done myself sort of guy.
I get that.
And, like, I feel like nowadays it's just like they sit in their office and, like, have everyone else do the work for the, you know, sort of thing. But I don't know, maybe that is still a thing. I don't know. Maybe I've just lost all faith.
That's the thing, is that often, I mean, it's bizarre because there's him being a CEO, there's a fascinating thing going on with the way that he's reckoning with the tragedy afterwards, where he has to experience it, he has to feel it, he has to acknowledge how terrible it is, but he has to deflect blame. It's not their fault. He can't do anything. This is the tragedy of the sport. This is just what happens, you know, like
because I mean, if not, that's a life on their hands. That is, like, it's like, I guess I don't know what legally would happen, you know, like if, say, like, Ferrari was at fault, like they knew that he was at risk and he did die. Maybe just a lawsuit from the family or something, I don't know, or the safety board or something like that. But and then that probably would have tanked. I mean, that would have tanked them, though. They were already bankrupt or getting there, and I bet that wouldn't be too good. In the light of everybody, I mean, yeah, it was a very interesting timepiece, like very informative. Like, it was really cool to see how just people live during this time. I want to live in Italy. where I can just go to a farmer's market and get my fresh food like that day. Like whenever Laura, is it Laura? I don't know why that sounded wrong. It is Laura. Okay, yeah. Whenever she's just coming back from like the market or like the store with 2 baskets full of like just produce. I mean, she does angrily throw them out afterwards. After she's like, I did give him an air. Like, what the fuck, like, fucking
devastating. Yeah.
Oh man. But like, I want just so bad to like have that like as my routine, and also, just Lena absolutely just crushing it in the kitchen. Like she was making ravioli. She made some like bomb ass looking pasta. Like, just set that bowl down in the sun. It was like just reading the paper. Like that's just like, yeah. Is that just their everyday food, man? Like that's just like, oh my god. Like I gotta wait till Christmas to have.
Yeah, I know. Like I love having Italian family. Like I just had Italian for Christmas just a couple nights ago, and I was like, fuck, I've been craving this so goddamn bad, and it's so fucking good, and it's so cool to see. Like I love watching it on screen. I mean, Italy is just a beautiful country too. Like the opening sequence of this movie, where it opens on just the landscape shots, where they like fade into each other, and it shows like that tree, and then it fades with a mountainside behind it, and then it fades into something else. Like gorgeous place. And I think that the color palette of this movie, I was speaking earlier about how Michael Mann, it doesn't have quite the Mann feel as far as the color grading, really, but the color grading is incredibly Italy Ferrari. Like that is there's a moment whenever Laura and Enzo are talking, where I can't remember if the wall in one of their rooms is red, and he's wearing white and she's wearing yellow, and they're like and it's just they're up against the wall like that, and it's just like it's very clear they're doing a Ferrari color palette in that moment. I fucking loved it. It was so satisfying, and a lot of green, a lot of red, a lot of white. Very very specific to that color palette, I would think, and I appreciated it a great deal, man. I'm coming, especially after this conversation, I'm even higher on it than I was initially.
Oh, it looked good. It looked good. And cameras, like the camera was set with intention, very obviously. Like it was like they were going for visually appealing shots, and it worked many of times. I think the shot I will nail down on is the camera on the ground on like one of the corners of the race. It's just out in the hillside, in the mountains, I don't know, somewhere. And they're coming around the corner, and like they're way out of focus, and then they drive they drive very close to the camera and then turn away, and like they're already gone like off screen, but you can just they're just continuing on the path. But it was just, I don't know, it was the one shot that did immediately be like, oh wow, they didn't need to do that, but that was visually just really cool. Having the focus pull from the asphalt to the cars eventually when they get down there, and it also just sounded really good too. The like hearing the car approach and then like so fast like leave as well.
Fades away.
I love that.
The sound editing in this movie and the sound design of this movie, I think as far as what I've watched, top 3 on the year with Oppenheimer and The Killer. The Killer just had absurd sound design. I loved it. And I obviously didn't get to see that in theaters, so I can only imagine what it must have sounded like there. But as far as theater experiences this year for me, Oppenheimer and this, top 2 sound wise. And I loved the score. Actually, that was something that underlined the movie very, very well. It was very subtle. It wasn't always super prominent. But damn, man, it was a pleasure to listen to. It was by Daniel Pemberton, who you would be familiar with because he did the Spider-Verse movies. He did Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, which are great soundtracks.
Very, very good. Yeah.
Yeah, I love me some Daniel Pemberton, and I've been listening to it the whole podcast. I enjoy it a great deal. I think that it added more than anything atmosphere. You know, it was never super triumphant. It was never like, there's just so much going on visually and sound design wise that it's hard to focus on the score in any given moment. But it always complemented the scenes very, very well, and it provided this background that created a place for you. It created a scenery almost, and I loved it. But yeah, man, there were some things that I think could have been better about the movie. Like, one thing that I think they had a tough time clarifying, for a while, I had no idea that Lena was a secret family. Lena and her son and his son. It wasn't until almost halfway through the movie that it became clear, like, nobody knows, or specifically Laura doesn't know. And I guess that's part of the point. Like, everybody does know, but Laura doesn't. And that's kind of maybe that's the dissonance there.
But I don't know, you're right. Like, because at the beginning, like, Laura's very in the know that Enzo sleeps around. You know, she's like, I know you fuck around. Like, just come home before breakfast or whatever. That was the deal. Like, literally, like, it was said like very early on, and I'm like, oh, okay. So
that's one of the interesting things about this movie too, is that, like, does she have the wrong idea about his quote unquote whoring, as she puts it? At least as far as this movie is concerned, Enzo's not sleeping around. He's sleeping with her. He's sleeping with Lena, you know, and cheating is bad. You know, I'm not going to say one is worse than the other. Whoring or falling in love with another person, both suck. But, you know, if you're the person getting cheated on,
this is the lesser of two evils, you know. Yeah, I guess if the news were to be broken to me, ooh, is that worse?
Right?
It might be worse.
I was
actually.
like, am I not, like, I was so unfulfilling to you that you fell in love with another human. You're not just having sex.
It
with
might be
else.
better
you
to
fell
just
in love.
be meaningless, whatever sex, versus you are actually fully in love with another. If you just one person that you're going to, not like
I don't know what would be worse. And I'm
you know what?
That I won't have to find out. Hopefully,
okay.
I trust Emily unabashedly.
You're right. I think cheating just kind of all around bad,
around terrible, around terrible. But that's what, and they obviously do give us a few allusions to the fact that Enzo's got a little game. He's a little bit of a player, to be sure. You know, whenever he's posing with the actress and his new driver, and he pulls her closer by the hip, you know, like
I mean, to reveal the Ferrari logo. You know, he is a businessman, has to put the company first. She was blocking the logo, so he had to move her out of the way, but did not have to grab her in that way. That is for sure. Was very smooth on the fly.
Sexy. No, it was sexy. I was like, oh, okay, Enzo.
Right next to her man. On the other side of him, which is
give a fuck.
Yeah, homie doesn't care. He is Enzo Ferrari. I mean, like, I think it's kind of like this is the closest to Tony Stark we've ever actually had.
Right.
I don't know. I kind of like. Maybe he was born too late now, you know? I want to see what this man could have done today.
Right.
He would have, I don't know. Maybe he was a giant piece of shit, actually, you know, in real life. I don't know.
Right. That's fair. You know, like, this is interesting, because one of the things that I saw on Wikipedia when I looked into the 𝗁𝗶𝗵𝗵𝗲𝗍 disaster here, is that according to Wikipedia, I don't know what the case is in all actuality. You can't trust that source unabashedly. I didn't do any further research, but it says that the crash was caused by a worn tire. It does not say that there was something in the road and his tire popped and he went flying. Which is interesting.
Okay.
I was curious if is it just a visual thing to allow us to identify what happens when it happens? Or,
I don't
because
know.
post that, they show in the like investigation, they're like something tore his tire. And then he says, it was just bad luck. It was going to happen. And that's just how it happened, so it is interesting to know whether or not this is almost being apologetic or if it is trying to tell a story as Enzo and his team saw it,
Yeah. Because I remember, I'm pretty sure his car, he was hurrying people along when they were doing routine checks on his car, and they were checking out that tire in specific, and he was like, "It's fucking good. Let's go." Like, I don't, or like maybe he was like, "Check the pressure," or something, like demanding the people like, "Just check my tire pressure, and that's all I fucking care about," or I don't know, something like that.
They definitely put an emphasis on that tire, and that is something that might be a little bit more of a clear thing on rewatch, whether or not he was, because I can't remember if he was demanding they check his tire pressure, or if he was telling them like, "Fuck it, don't worry, I gotta go."
It kind of sounded, it sounded like both. It sounded like, I'm in a hurry, don't do all this other shit, just check my tire pressure, and then like they were checking the other ones, and then like the guy was getting to the driver's side one, and then he was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go anyways, I gotta go.
It's and there was a few, like, that whole sequence of the movie, which I didn't realize particularly was the last, I could tell it was the makings of the last act, but I didn't realize we were so close to the end of the movie. When the movie ends, it's kind of like, oh, okay, cool, that's the end. But there's just a really compelling tension building with Enzo's personal life too. He gets that call from Fiat about, we heard you're thinking about joining business with Henry Ford, and he's like, I don't know where the fuck you heard that. I don't know where they get these stories. Like that whole thing. He meets Lena in the hotel downtown by the route. He's like, they get here in an hour, and all he does is lay there with her, which I thought was wonderful. That's a nice little moment that I think genuinely shows that it's not,
not just,
it's love. Like, he's in love with this woman, undoubtedly. This isn't like, it's nice to be in the company of someone in general, but this is a pretty intimate act to just be doing randomly. It's not like he was like, all right, I need to have a quick fuck real quick. That's it. And then I'm going to get back going. No, like they laid there and cuddled for a while. Which I think is sweet.
His time was very, he's very on the clock. It was just it was understood. How long do you have? About an hour until they arrive. Okay. And
one thing that I loved, and this is incredibly specific to us, and our viewing of the movie, he says, "Oh, we got about an hour. It'll be over at about 2:30, which is when the movie ended for us. Was 2:30.
Whoa.
Yeah, no, I was like, whoa. I caught that, like, as soon as he said, I was like, whoa, this movie's gonna end at about 2:30. There's no way they could have possibly meant to do that, because this movie shows at different times, but I love that it happened for us.
No, there's a little addition on the Truman possibility board. That's it's a little weird, Michael Mann. Did you know people would see this at noon? Was that in your head? It is there. It is a possibility. Nothing's ever zero. But no,
what more do you want from theory alone?
I am glad that man finally got to make this. It is crazy to read through all of the other actors that he wanted, and like the before, like just the like,
dude, Robert De Niro, Christian Bale, like
Hugh Jackman, I think was even in there. Like, I'm like, oh my god, like, I mean, every iteration of this could have just been as good or like incredible, but I don't know. I think Adam Driver, like, now that I think of, like, Christian Bale, like, I don't think he really fits this character. I mean, he's a phenomenal actor.
He does a really good job at switching his shit up, but like, And even further back, like, I love Robert De Niro.
Yeah, I don't think,
like I said
I
at the
don't
top
know.
at the top of the show, there's this larger than life aspect of the character Enzo Ferrari that they're trying to get across. And I think Adam Driver specifically has the presence to do that. You know, like, I think there's just such a, he's a force of nature. It feels like it's such, he had that girth. Incredible.
He did have that girth. Yeah, no, I don't know. The more I talk about it, the more I'm very fondly remembering everything.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like,
Hugh Jackman, no fucking shot. Sorry. I love Hugh Jackman. No chance.
Yes. And Ferrari? Italian? Hugh Jackman?
Yeah. We get a very different movie if Hugh Jackman is Enzo Ferrari. We get a little bit more of Joaquin Phoenix Napoleon thing where nobody's really speaking with an Italian accent and everybody's just kind of... I trust Hugh Jackman could do an Italian accent. I just don't think it would be as good as the one Adam Driver is doing.
Yeah, I guess he is Australian, I'm pretty sure.
That feels further away from Italian than American to me. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That would be weird. That'd be a weird Ferrari movie.
He does have a great American accent, you know, so maybe I'm sleeping on it, but
yeah.
Regardless.
Adam Driver, I think, was actually nice. We waited a little bit.
This happened when it needed to happen, and it happened the best it could have been done. I have a tough time imagining this movie being done much better. There was a moment in the movie where it reminded me a little bit like of a Ridley Scott movie. I was like, Ridley Scott probably could have done something pretty cool with this as well. I'm glad it's Michael Mann, and I feel like Michael Mann. Personally, I've gotten to a point where I think I like Michael Mann more than Ridley Scott, which is interesting. I didn't think I would arrive here. But it's just it feels so different than other Michael Mann movies that it feels like it could have been given to other directors, and it would have obviously been done differently, but I don't know if it could have been done better, which is high praise for a movie like this, like a biopic. Like, that's hard to pull off.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing here. I guess, having it be cooking for this long. He's been thinking about it for a while. And maybe Adam Driver was the click, you know, maybe they just, I don't know, or this cast, you know, he got everyone together and was just like, wow, this is just feeling right. Because that's, I mean, everyone really disappeared into their characters. Like, I sure as shit. Like Enzo and Laura, like it's crazy that they have not been married ever in their lives. They have not had any children together. They have not lost a kid together. But they sure as shit could have. Like, I mean, it really felt like they have been through that together. Which is like insane.
You're right about everyone seeping into these roles, man. You know, like I didn't see, and obviously there's a really impressive prosthetic work done with Adam Driver as well. Like, obviously it is his face, but like his forehead and his hair. There's definitely makeup to make him look a little older, and the hair coloring and stuff is obviously he's not so grayed as that. But then we got McDreamy in this movie.
Yeah,
I didn't see Patrick Dempsey as his character from Grey's Anatomy. You know,
little I don't know, because it doesn't have an ashtray. The Maserati has an ashtray. Like, I don't know, like there were just everyone was. I guess he didn't really have a whole lot to do.
When he shows up to the fucking lobby and he's talking to the concierge, and then he just pulls the flowers out of the vase to give to Shailene Woodley. He's fucking loved that.
I guess he gave quite the tip. It seemed that he gave him a really good tip. So yes. I think he's got the flowers covered, no problem. But yeah, I don't know. He's a very busy man, but he at least got those flowers. You know, I don't know. At least he was thinking about it. But yeah, there's a lot of little scenes that can't really get the nod for like my favorite scene of the movie. But I mean, just like it's crazy that the best parts of the movie for me are like whenever it's just Laura and Enzo talking or Lena and Enzo talking. Like it's like that's like the best
That's where
parts.
the heart of this movie is, man.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I think I will go with their big argument. Not the save you should have saved him argument, but the I will sign over my shares or negotiating rights with no conditions. Just don't name him Ferrari. And I don't know, just it seemed that that was really the pinnacle of both of their performances in the movie. Like they both had really, really amazing stuff done by themselves and incredible moments before, but like it was a chance where both of them were just on point like the whole time and being able to shine off each other. It was super, like, it's crazy that like they don't have any of this history or chemistry, but because like I was like the argument that they were having, like it's crazy how transactional their argument even is. Like it's like that's like just the point they've gotten to, which is crazy that like a death of a kid, like that is like you're not like that is not gonna, I don't know, that's gonna be hard to come back from, especially like when you try everything you can do to save them as well. And like I guess Laura maybe just she's obviously not okay with losing a kid and has to put the blame somewhere. And like, cause I'm assuming she knows that he tried, the lengths that he went to. I'm assuming it wasn't like behind closed doors that he was.
I think it truly is just the revelation that he had another child that really made her go, oh, you weren't as worried about it as I was because you had a child who was strong and healthy and growing while your other one was getting weaker and dying. Mm-hmm. So you didn't worry about it as much. And he had a great comeback to that where he's like, it doesn't matter how many fucking kids I have. I love my kids. Like, it's not like it's. Yeah,
it does that. Yeah, he's like, how dare you? Like, he stood up and was like, don't you dare, like, try to tell me that I don't miss my son. He was like, not
every day. I get up in the morning and see him every day.
Man, and even that scene at the very beginning, before we're really attached to anybody, like I was tearing up a little bit already. Like when he's talking to him, and then like he starts to just cry. I was like, oh fuck! I'm like, damn. Yeah. It's I don't know, a crazy performance by both.
And there's a great line he delivered during that just kind of set you up for Enzo's entire personality and the way he handles things. Where when he stops crying, he goes, okay, I have to go deal with today.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's not like I have things to do. I have to go do. I have to deal with today.
Man,
whatever may come, I'm gonna have to work with it.
Yeah. That's just how we start every day. We deal just with whatever the fuck is coming our way. But I don't know. He's got a nice morning routine. I wonder how often he goes to the barber shop.
Oh, yeah.
It seemed like kind of an everyday thing. Grab the paper, go to the barber shop. He's very clean shaven,
very ritualistic
the entire time. So, and I imagine this is where I don't know. It seems that everyone was expecting him, and waiting for his arrival at the barber shop.
Yeah,
and but he does go to the graveyard every single day, staggering the him and his wife's visits, like, so they're not there at the same. He leaves
that was
right
one of my
whenever.
Favorite shots too, was her getting out of the car, and then in the background you see him get into his and drive away. Like, fucking beautiful. Loved that.
Oh man! And another just slight shot whenever he walks out of Lena's house, and like just rolls the car a little bit to start it, like, and then just seeing like the driveway, like with all the trees that are like coming up top, like, oh man, I don't know, it just looks so good. Italy, I mean, I just, it's just kind of already naturally just, it's gonna look good, like it's not, just everything over there looks so beautiful. I'd say literally the most, not visually unappealing, but like the Colosseum was kind of just like, oh, okay. Like, I'd rather get back to the landscapes and the just other random like house shit. Like the Colosseum was cool. I'm like, oh yeah, we're in Italy. That is nice. We're in Rome, but yeah, like I like, just give me more of the just the mountain sides and the
there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 filming locations, and all of which were Italy, very authentically Italy.
Yeah, it seemed like it. It definitely did. Very blocking off the cities and driving. I wonder if that was just a set or if they actually blocked off some parts of Italy there. Like whenever the like fuel stops, where they had to stop in the city and drive like around that little
right.
Don't turn around. I don't know, little circle thing.
Damn, yeah. No, this was a good fucking movie, man. Like, the more I look back, I'm incredibly thankful I saw it on the big screen. Like, if you have a chance to do that, fucking do it. It's wonderful.
Looks great, sounds great. I mean, I got
when
goosebumps
it comes to
a
the
couple
theater,
times.
That's really what I want.
Yeah, that's true. I don't have speakers like that at home. I don't have 500. I don't even know how fucking big is a digital screen.
There's no telling.
I'm saying I was about to say 500 inches, but like it's probably way bigger than that. Maybe.
I don't know. How many feet is that?
AMC digital screen.
41
probably
feet?
Measure it in feet. Yeah, I was going to say they probably measure it in feet.
It's at least 41 feet. Yeah. Like, that's what 500 inches would be.
Damn. Okay. Oh, wow. Digital cinema screen is about 45 to 65 feet. IMAX typically ranging from 60 to 100 feet. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it definitely depends on the location. I would guess that our AMC falls somewhere around the 50 to 55 foot
nuts
digital
That's
screen.
Nuts. To put even like a 70-inch TV up to that, like a 70-inch TV is fucking massive sitting in a living room. Like you see that in the living room, you're like, holy shit. You're like, damn, that's a big TV. That's like 70 inches. Holy shit. You go to a movie theater.
The puniest corner.
Yeah, it's incredible. That's insane. I don't know.
We also had wonderful seats. I love that first row, first elevated row, where if you lean back, you don't have to move your neck at all. You don't have to fix your eye line. It's just right there. It's fucking wonderful.
It was perfect. Middle of the middle. Like, I mean, it feels like that is what it's built for right there. And the railing, you don't have to worry about kicking any people in front of you. It's just the railing and a big drop off. Oh yeah. No, perfect. Oh my God. Never have used the seat warmer function before, but that was actually lush. Not like that was nice.
Hot.
It does. I was on the low setting, and oh my God, it was getting warm. I kind of had to just go in spurts of turning it on and off, but I did like it. I don't know. It was very nice. But yeah, theater experience was very, very nice. Very much appreciated for this one. Theater experiences for the year? Say Oppenheimer's still the king. Killers would be
that
two.
One was literally every seat was full in our Oppenheimer showing. You didn't hear a fucking peep the entire movie. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
That's still the pinnacle as far as audience etiquette for me, was that theater experience. I was like, I didn't hear a single, I might as well have been in an empty fucking theater for Oppenheimer, bro.
Yep.
Everyone
was in there for the same reason. We were all in there for, just give it to us. Everyone was ready for Oppenheimer. And yeah, that'll be hard to beat. But, I enjoyed Barbie a whole lot more. I had a much more fun time during the watch, but I'd say it's like that'd be a closer compare. Like, it's not even close to the same movie. But as far as the movies we've covered, I think Asteroid City still tops this. That was a whole lot of things going on at once.
Okay, let's talk about it. As far as the 6 movies we've discussed in anticipation of, we've gotten in order: Asteroid City, Oppenheimer, Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, The Killer, and now this Ferrari. Where's it fallen for you out of those 6?
I'd say Oppenheimer and Asteroid City have been number 1. I'd say Oppenheimer is probably the number 1, if I had to say one, and then Asteroid would be, ooh, man. Okay, I'd say Oppenheimer 1, tied for second place would be Killers and Asteroid City. So that there's 2 and 3. I'm kind of compelled to say Ferrari. It's either like Ferrari, Killer,
my order, like Oppenheimer, and I it took me a while to accept that. I got it on 4K Blu-ray for Christmas, watched it the other night. Watched it at home for the first time after 2 theater experiences, and just had to accept that it is definitely that fucking good. You know, like, I was just blown away. So it's still only top 2 this year, but I've previously had it top 3, or outside my top 3. But it's 2 on the air for me, but Oppenheimer top 1 that we've discussed in anticipation of, Asteroid City at 2, barring a rewatch of my 3, Killers of the Flower Moon. Okay. I've just seen Asteroid City like 7 times, and I know I fucking love that movie, whereas I've seen Killers of the Flower Moon once, so we'll see. 4, Ferrari. Confident in that. 5, The Killer. 6, Barbie. That's where I'm at. And it's been a shame to watch Barbie kind of fall down my list on the year. Yeah. It's a rare one where it has incredible rewatch value. I think with every watch I like it a little less, which is interesting. And that's rare.
I mean, every other movie that it's stacking up against has quite the more serious story to tell, or like serious tone to tell their story. And this, I mean, it is fun, and it will always be fun. But at the end of the day, it is Barbie Land, you know, versus the nuclear bomb, or I don't like the Osage, that is still like, I haven't rewatched Killers, but like that is like still a fucking, was that good, holy man. Fuck. I don't know if I could put.
I mean, critically, it's a different conversation as far as what the top 2 are. That's Oppenheimer and Killers of the Flower Moon. Don't know how much I could tell you one's better than the other. But those are the top 2 of the year. Yeah.
I'd say this is kind of on the same level critically as Asteroid City, if not. What did we give it? We gave it 9.25.
I'd say it's that's about that. You know, are we ready for that? Is it that time? Is it time for a rating?
I think we are. I think I have covered all of mine. I believe. Yeah, I think we are there. Okay, yeah, I wonder, enjoyment-wise, what is it compared to? Damn, I love seeing Collateral at a 9.75. It makes me so happy. But I don't think this is a 9.75. This is
enjoyment-wise, it's not. It's I like watching it a great deal. It is complicated to throw a number at it whenever at the top of the episode we talked about how it's a different kind of enjoyment than a movie like Collateral. Collateral is a movie I could watch and watch and watch and watch. And I will watch Ferrari again, but not for the same reasons at all, and probably not more than a couple more times.
Yeah. Like
and it's a long life, there's no guarantee how many times that is, but within the next few years, once or twice I might revisit Ferrari.
Yeah, I'd say Collateral, I'll throw on. Maybe not as much. I was about to compare it to like the Batman. Whenever I just have like a random spurt of like I need the Batman, just out of nowhere. I feel like I've had an itch to watch Collateral. We were almost going to watch it 2 days ago, but then we switched to, I don't know, some Mark Wahlberg movie.
Yes, I saw you log that on Letterboxd, the new Apple TV one.
Yeah, a Family Plan or something like that. Kind of a Christmas-ish movie, not really. But
it's got the family thing going on,
Yeah, it was okay. But that really made me like I was pissed. I really thought I was getting Collateral that day, and then we didn't. So I've been really wanting to watch it again.
You got the stupid fucking Mark Wahlberg comedy.
Yeah. I mean, it was okay. It was funny. Sometimes. But a lot of it, I know I'm switching gears here. A lot of it, crazy enough, is just a ad for Valorant, the video game. It's like a literal ad, like in the movie. Like it's wild. I've never really seen anything quite like it in a movie. How it is like so clearly an ad in the movie, like it not a product placement. It is what is the focus of the. I mean, it is like they turned a fucking commercial on. It's nuts.
That is bizarre.
Yeah, so I was a little pissed that I got that instead of Collateral. But yeah, no, this Ferrari will be kind of like a rewatch. I feel like an Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer, I do have to sit down and kind of get prepared for that one.
Yeah, you do.
I'll probably watch it more.
Yourself there.
And this feels like I need to be like, all right, I'm either showing this to someone else for the first time and I'm watching it with them, or it's just gonna be like, yeah, I haven't seen this in a while and I remember it fondly, but it'll probably take a couple months to get there, I'd say. But yeah, I don't know. I think let's see, out of the Michael Mann movies, like Thief was an 8.75.
Enjoyment wise?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, for me, the floor is 9.
Okay. I like that.
That's the floor for me.
Because I was definitely north of Thief. I was north of Thief. The Killer was a 9.25.
If The Killer was a 9.25, for me, this has to be a 9.25. I don't know, like, that is its closest companion in terms of my enjoyment as far as what we have covered on the podcast so far. It's a different kind of enjoyment, obviously. It's more like The Killer was technically fantastic in terms of like just visually and sound design and all that stuff. We've talked about that obviously at length. The story here was much more interesting. The performances, in my opinion, were much better. The visuals, that's hard to say. I don't think I'd say this is visually better than The Killer, but it's very, very good visually, and that makes it a more enjoyable viewing, or as enjoyable a viewing for me.
It's in the same ballpark visually, for sure. I would say The Killer probably still etches it out a little bit, but this isn't like a clear.
This isn't some boring schlock by any means.
Yeah, there is intent behind the camera placements. There are very.
There's this moment whenever he picks up a phone and someone's in the background, and he like walks towards the phone and he takes up half the screen, and he's got the phone to his ear, and it's just a subtle moment, like little moments like that where it's not super impactful, it's not super important. The same thing they do with Patrick Dempsey at one point after he's won, and Enzo gets on the phone and is like, what happened today, it has nothing, it's completely separate from your winning. You know, you did a good job, you did incredible, you have nothing to feel bad about, you did what you did, You did what you had to do, and it has nothing to do with you. Good job. Another great character moment, by the way, but visually a beautiful sequence where he's sitting by like lamplight and it's dark and it's just, like it's gorgeous. I found myself, you're enjoying it pretty much solely for how good it is. Like it's not like, oh man, this is such a fun fucking movie, like that, like The Killer is. It's just, you were watching it like, wow, this is well done. And that makes it makes it very enjoyable.
I'd agree. I mean, I did tear up a few times. The laughs were there. There were a few like funny moments thrown in there. But a lot of it was just like total engrossment in the story and like, wow, like, yeah, this is kind of a cool story to be told. And I'm glad we're getting like this view of it, this insider kind of scoop. It felt like it. I like definitely
definitely much more similar to that for his filmography than anything else. I would say
whenever he went up to the journalist, it was like, hey, say I'm thinking about talking with Henry Ford, but I'm categorically denying it. Well, are you categorically? Are you actually? He's like, yeah, of course, I'm denying it. But yeah, put that out, and I'll give you a personal on me, and you can only post it whenever I give the go-ahead. It kind of felt like this movie was almost like
that article
that was finally given the go-ahead. But obviously, I don't think Michael Mann was waiting for Enzo Ferrari for his approval. I'm assuming he's
long
passed
dead
away. He died in 1988. I wonder when Michael Mann was first going to make this movie. So De Niro was the first guy he approached, probably.
Yeah, 90s with Robert De Niro.
Would you look at that? So maybe he did. He was waiting for the man. Laura said, "Don't name that kid Ferrari until I die," and Enzo said, "None of this personal shit until I die either." But I feel like this was probably a known story even before he was dead.
This is based off a book.
It's already long gone there. But I don't know. It felt just kind of was cool, just how like he dealt with the journalists and he called them vultures. I love
whenever he stepped up to the presser and he was like, "You said I do this, you're gone.
Yeah.
You said this, untrue, you're gone."
Widow, or I'm a widow maker.
He wasn't technically married. Get the
he's
fuck
not
out
even
of here.
technically married. Get the fuck out of here. And they're just like, damn it. They're like, shit, man. He's like, can't do anything about it. They're like, whatever. But no, yeah, he was awesome. And then just, little scenes like that I'm like, that are just popping back up.
Very memorable movie, man. Like, it sticks with you. And for that, I think it was obviously enjoyable, but I think that speaks to how well it was made. I think it was extremely well done, and I think that it's on similar footing as our enjoyment rating of it. If we gave Asteroid City a 9.25, probably about where this sits. I don't know how much higher I could take it, because I think Asteroid City's script and screenplay just has a lot more nuance than this does. This is pretty straightforward, but it's extremely well done and so well shot, excruciatingly well performed.
Yeah, like Tavares said at the end while we were walking out, that like take the racing away, it's kind of a mob movie. It kind of felt like
that
a
vibe. Yeah, you
mob
could rework it,
movie
you
feeling.
could rework the story a bit, and it could be that,
showing that like Ferrari is a business, like at the end of the day, but like to him it is not. That is like his life, sort of thing. But like whenever you look at it through the lens of like his personal life actions are affecting this larger company, all because he's just the guy who started it, sort of thing. It's
and
like
that company is in turn affecting his life,
yeah,
like it's very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, yeah, I like that 925. I think it does pair well with Asteroid City. The Killer, let's see, we gave that a 9 critically, and I think like the performances here, Fassbender does a phenomenal job in The Killer, but I think like everyone is just doing really good, especially Adam Driver and Penelope Cruz. They just kind of knock it out of the park.
And Penelope Cruz are two of my favorite performances of the year in this movie. Like,
yeah,
I love Fassbender in The Killer, but his work doesn't come close to what Driver did here.
Mm-mm.
Like, it's
like Cillian as Oppenheimer is kind of the only role that's coming into like competition with this for me as far as movies I've seen this year, which is basically this project. Actually, no, we did discover that I did see quite a few more than I thought, but no, this was definitely a highlight of the year. Came in at the buzzer, Christmas time, but still, I don't know. It left its mark on this year, that's for sure. This was incredible. Yeah, 925. It ties it with The Insider overall. It is below Heat, above Collateral, above Thief, above Manhunter. So yeah, I don't know. It does slot in where I think it belongs, where it shall. And wow, we are there. Done with Michael Mann, done for the year for directors at large.
We only got one movie left, and we're going to drop off a bit in quality this Friday, as we will top off the year with Green Lantern for our comic book movie journey through film. Can't wait for that. So exciting, so riveting.
Oh yeah. Oh,
what better way to contrast such a wonderful piece of practical, tangible, wonderful filmmaking than with that?
From Ferrari Red to the Green, from the Green Lantern. I think it is a perfect, we got to realize there are movies like Ferrari that are made very well, that are enjoyable because they're made so well. But then we got to realize not every movie is made the same. There are reasons why we can say this movie is better than others, and it is because we know what is bad. We know what is, but not a complete shitter.
To be sure.
Methinks. I think it'll be somewhat fun.
Yeah, that's a fun conversation that we've already had. We're technically done for the year as far as what we've recorded. This
is the most like record and ship kind of the quickest one we've had for a while.
Yeah, we had a couple in a row here. We had Collateral last Tuesday, put it out last Wednesday, and then we're doing this Man one. It's definitely the most we've done that though. I can't remember the last time we did that, where we did day before put it out thing. We're typically very far ahead, and as of right now, we still are quite ahead. We've got more episodes scheduled right now than we have in a long time. Let's see. 8 scheduled with a 9th that came out today. Or yesterday, I should say. And this will be out tomorrow, so that 8 scheduled will maintain. It's been wonderful. And I'm looking forward to at some point trying to work in a 2023 in review conversation. Not sure when we'll be able to do that. If it's before the end of the year, unlikely, but if we could, that'd be awesome. If it's early next year, it gives me more time to watch more shit from this year. So, there's a give and take there. But yeah, with that, we will conclude our episode and our spotlight on Michael Mann with Ferrari. If you would, head to patreon.com/PennyBloomPod, where you'll find over 50 hours of exclusive content, including all sorts of book reviews, comic book reviews, movie reviews, and the like. I also do a lot of writing over there, And for $1.50 a month, you can get access to just that. But for $3 a month, you can also get our audio content. And all that money goes into making sure I can put this podcast on. It's huge because it costs me money to make it, and I don't make any off of it unless it's over there. Head to Twitter, follow at @PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram at PennyBloomPodcast, follow on Letterboxd at PennyBloomPod, and remember to leave a 5-star rate and review wherever it is you might be listening. Continue to download episodes such as that one that's coming this Friday with Green Lantern. I can't imagine there's a lot of overlap in our audience between those who want to see Ferrari and those who want to see Green Lantern. But for those of you who do, I strongly recommend you go ahead and listen to that this Friday. Whether you watch it or not is up to you, but it's a conversation worth listening to nonetheless. And then we continue our Game of Thrones rewatch. Winter is Blooming into the new year next Monday on January 1st with Season 6, Episode 9, The Battle of the Bastards.
Happy New Year.
I feel like there's probably a bit more overlap between the people who'd want to see Ferrari and the people who watched Game of Thrones. And if there is, if I'm expecting that right, I can't imagine a better place for you to be than Winter is Blooming on Mondays with us. It's a wonderful show that I've had such a fun time doing for so long now. And we're nearing the end, like I said, coming to the close of season 6. But shan't be long now before that's all over and done with, and we're on to Fire and Bloom season 2 for House of the Dragon. But man, so be sure to check all that out. Do be sure to check all that out. But yeah, with that, I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And you get in my cars. You get in to win.